Hi and welcome to this video on Destiny 2. This video will be covering how this game is truly just an immortal game. And there's not a lot of immortal games in my personal opinion, but this is one of them. And I mean that in the fact that, for an example, Mask of the Quiet One. Mask of the Quiet One was not that good. It used to have just the first bit there, not the part with Devour, just the first bit there that was alright, depending on how you did it, depending on what exactly you wanted to do, that could really do some things here and there. But with the addition to just get Devour, that is absolutely insane. And if you don't know what Devour is, a quick overview of Devour and all the other subclass verbs and stuff is in their respective subclass if you go to something that actually gives it to you. Devour is absolutely insane for what it actually allows you to do, and technically you can proc Devour with all sorts of different weapons, or a weapon and a exotic for Titan. But Devour alone does so many different things, and depending on the class specifically, like for an example, Warlock has the best Devour if you're using one of their aspects for Void, and Prismatic, I believe. It allows you to do so much more, like both the health it gives and the grenade energy is just doubled on Warlock. But on Titan, it's still grenade energy and health on kill specifically, not on any like cooldown or anything like that. Just on every single kill, you're getting grenade energy and health back. So with Titan being able to just slaughter hordes with each ability, basically, you're able to do some crazy shit. Now, with that, I have always really liked the look of Mask of the Quiet One and generally what it does because it allows me to just gain passive benefit for being in the shit, like I really like being. But it hasn't really always been that good, so I haven't really used it. It was my first ever exotic that I actually wanted to make a look for, if you didn't know that. But there another reason why this game, and part of the reason why I said all that about the Mask of the Quiet One is because Mask of the Quiet One is from the Red War. That is D2 Vanilla. That is the first ever campaign, excuse me, that ever released for Destiny 2. And Devour, if you didn't know, is actually a newer verb for Void. Those classes didn't actually have things like Devour and all sorts of different things. Like it did, but for a specific class because they didn't have overall class things or overall subclass things. They had more classes specific things. Like for an example, way back when Solar used to apply Weekend for Titan, not actually Void, which is pretty interesting. And with all that said, the consolidation and the merging and mixing and matching of all those different gameplay elements that has happened throughout the years has made this game just so much better. Like, each episode and each season has always introduced more and more shit, better and better shit for all the subclasses, and some of them have even been bringing, like, some cool updates. Like, for an example, Glacial Quake. Glacial Quake now allows you to synergize directly with this. No, not this. This one. Which, one, if you did not know, Glacial Quake's entire high damage capability is not it itself. It is the crystals it generates on a big bitch that can actually walk around and shatter them. So if you have the right distance of that good like 6 crystals you can spawn on Heavy Slam, you can easily like get them to shatter them and just absolutely annihilate them on the blink of an eye, basically. That's what Glacial Quake was able to do very easily. But now, with the newest buff, with that being able to work with that, allows you to have a guaranteed basically taint wiggle is the best way to put it. Like you're constantly punching up their taint with ice, which sounds weird, to be honest, but is completely accurate because what you're doing is uppercutting them, making ice crystals through them and making them shatter those ice crystals and rinse repeating that entire process, which can and will do some crazy shit. Now, the thing that makes me so intrigued about that one key aspect of Glacier Quake, one, no other super has something like that, of actually fully going with the aspects. There has been things in the past with the old subclass versions, because if you didn't know, there's actually been like 3 versions of subclasses, kind of. Subclass 2.0 was just additions on the old version, but not full on new version. So, But this is a completely new setup compared to that. Because of that, it adds so many cool things, and with the Glacial Quake's entire thing now, I am intrigued to see, or really wondering, if they're ever going to bring Glacial Quake's entire thing with Consecration. Because if they do that, it would only work with Prismatic 1, and 2, that would be okay. That would be fun. It would feel good. It would be amazing in so many different ways. But I think that'll be actually kind of broken to have a infinite as long as you have the super concentration. Slam, 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 and not have to worry about ability to regen or anything like that. On top of having prismatic, and with the ability to do this melee, which gives you 3 melee charges, you just will never run out of concentrations, no matter what you do. Which sounds busted. But I'm guessing there's a way to balance it, and there's pros and cons to what you're wanting to build into. Like, if you're wanting to build into that, I personally don't see the problem with that, because what you're doing is maximum ad clear, not necessarily good focus damage and long-term damage. You're good at just annihilating all sorts of things, just maximum explosions, but explosions aren't always what you need to do. And if they're flying up high enough, you can't actually concentrate their ass. So, tomato potato, depending on what exactly you want to do. Now, with all that said, that is all things that have been updated and kind of brought better and better and better throughout the years. A cool thing about this expansion or this season, specifically Revenant, that or episode technically, they're kind of the same thing in my head. They're one and the same, in my personal opinion, but episodes are actually fundamentally better than seasons, but they are basically the exact same thing when you boil them down, which is not a bad thing. Seasonal format is actually a pretty good thing because it gives the player base so much things to do and different things like that. Like, it's actually a good player or a good thing overall, but a lot of people don't necessarily like that. The newest exotic, or one of the newest exotics for this game, is called the Athenaeum. The Athenaeum, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is one of the only primary ammo breach loading grenade launchers. There's only two in the game so far. There is a void one, which is called the Fighting Lion, which also got a buff, which is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not the greatest trying to get what you need to do specifically with the Fighting Lion, but it it is very good if you can do it. The direct hit specifically is not something I'm good with. I like using a breach loading grenade launcher like this that allows you to have that release fire as a AoE, not a on target damage. But this entire exotic is designed around on target damage, which I'm not good with, in my personal opinion. But if you are, it can do some crazy good shit. And I said I'm not good with that a whole lot. Just it feels good, which is why I said that a whole lot, because it just feels really fucking good to play with. Just not my cup of tea. Uh, but the newest exotic changes everything about primary ammo breach loading grenade launchers. Basically, this allows you to have infinite ammo, practically. Not a whole lot of ammo per thing, and takes a little bit to get those. Excuse me. But you basically have infinite ammo when it comes to that specifically. And that allows you to do so many crazy things and just allow you to do so many cool things that you're going to see with the build overall, because I'm actually using that whenever I need to. It's not a guarantee that you're ever actually going to have to use that, but it is handy nonetheless. Catalyst, don't know yet, but I know for a fact it's going to be something insane for this overall. Uh, but still, and the best part about this gun that is not actually specified in that entire description is that it is a specific type of grenade launcher, which is called. I'm actually going to scroll over it so you guys can see it. Where it is, mountaintop. Called a micro missile frame. The micro missile frames are the movement grenade launchers. They allow you to shoot the ground and launch yourself up. They literally have. They are the rocket jumping tool. Best way to put it, simplified, the rocket jumping tool. Because they are the rocket jumping tool, and there's weapons like, for an example, Aspergillus, for an example, Eager Edge, you can do some crazy movement. And speaking of crazy movement, later this season, I believe next week, there's going to be a new Sparrow, or not Sparrow, skimmer, called the Zerf board, which Zer is going to be selling. And Zer, if you did not know, is in the tower every weekend. Friday, daily reset to Tuesday, weekly reset. Zer sells all sorts of cool things, and he's going to sell, and he's always there. He used to be in different places, but he's always there now. And he's going to sell the Zerf board. The Zerf board is one of the only free skimmers. There's a couple skimmers. There's like four skimmers, going to be four skimmers when that releases. And it's not even released yet. It's not even in the collections yet, which is interesting, my personal opinion. And I can easily show you. Not in the collections. But that skimmer is going to be one of the free ones that or the only free one that is easily accessible to everyone. The other free one is the one I use, which is a what's it called, Guardian Games exotic, and that's why you have that symbol there, because some of those symbols are expansions, some of them are seasons. That's an expansion, that's season, that general thing. But this one is an event, which is why you're always going to see that symbol on the event ones. That is the Guardian Games 1, and the Guardian Games 1 is very good and very easy to get, just you have to wait until Guardian Games, which sucks. With the surfboard, you're just going to have to spend, if I remember correctly, maximum of Zer's currency, which is strange coins. Strange coins you just get by doing literally anything. You grind out an encounter, you have strange coins. You play a lot of strikes, you have strange coins. Play a lot of crucible, you have strange coins. Play a lot of gambit, play a lot of gambit. You have a lot of strange coins. No matter what you do, you will have a lot of strange coins. You've played this game a good bit, which in of itself is very handy. With all that said, I'm actually going to show off the gameplay, because the gameplay this season, I'm just going to first show off the movement first. Then I'm going to show off this season's area and gameplay for what it is bringing. It has updated Onslaught. It has made Onslaught not just Onslaught, but Onslaught Salvation, which introduces all sorts of different things, and it is also the seasonal event that is bringing entirely new enemy types, like the Scorn. If you haven't seen anything on this season, basic rundown, not trying to spoil a whole lot. The Scorn's big head honcho, the basically think Dracula, but more zombie than vampire, that general thing. But this zombie Dracula has a lot of boys underneath them and has the ability to resurrect them, that general thing, just necrotic zombie, that general thing. But this guy figured out or found a thing that gives his followers so much more power. And it's insane what he can actually do with it. Why did I not get distance? I did that before. Why did I literally just stop moving forward? Did I hit an invisible wall? Um, and Vickrel is the main head honcho, the big boy. He has so many different things that he is able to do now. It is actually kind of scary. I did just hit an invisible wall. Okay. Uh, and that is what we're doing this entire season, trying to get rid of him and trying to kill him outright. Which is actually pretty hard to do when he is a very powerful vampiric zombie thingamajig. But he's also upgraded his boys, which you're going to see as the Revenant Barons. Those guys are pretty interesting. They're basically Hive Guardians, but instead of having to destroy their ghost, you just have to shoot their totem, which is very different, but generally the same gameplay. Kind of. You have to hunt it instead of it being right where you find them, but generally the same gameplay. And I'm going to show you that after I show off the destination ish. This is the new version of the Helm. It also has the Helm connected to it, which you can go through a portal. I'm not going to go to the Helm because there's some spoilers there. I'm just going to try and do as little spoilers so you can enjoy it when you first load into it, if you do. And I highly suggest playing this game because this game is fucking gorgeous and it'll only get better throughout the years, because this game is one of the only immortal games. It is only getting better. It has only got better. It is so many different things, never ever dying, basically. This is part of the last city. Up there is actually the tower. That is the old tower, that is the new tower, and that is actually the helm. I'm not going to go into there so you can see more, but the helm is meant to be in sky or in space. Just that's the helm there, and that's the tower I believe that we have now, like over in that general area. Uh, that is to go to the helm if you want to go there. But here is where the seasonal stuff is, and this is where I'm wanting to really show off some of the seasonal stuff. Uh, I'm not going to do this stuff for you, or I'm not going to show this stuff off in like how it functions exactly, but I'm going to show off the key things you need to know if you do want to get into this. First, The field works are the main gimmick of this season or this episode. The episode does not have a typical structure of old seasons or episodes. It is not a quest you have to do. It is these, which getting these, you have to get a certain amount of recipes. Those recipes are actually pretty easy to do, but I'm going to get there when I get there. You have to do two of these to get one of these. Each two gives you one, and once you complete all of these, you get this one, which all of them give you a lot of upgrades, a lot of different things here and there that build up and build up and build up to allow you to do cool things. Like this one allows you to make some pretty cool tonics. Each tonic, or every tonic's ingredients, and I'm just going to scroll over that. That's actually something I can use, but I'm not going to. But every tonic's ingredients are different. Like there is the volatile tonics and then the enriching tonics. Both of them use different ingredients, but generally the same thing, but one's for combat, one's for loot. The way to get both of them is the exact same thing of going through onslaught. Salvation is the typical way you should do it, and the best way I figured out to do it of just run it over and over and over again. If you want to do the basic version or a whole lot of the higher tier version, I just like doing the, excuse me, play this version because that's just 10 waves. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Excuse me. Again. Um, but there are some pretty cool tonics that are first going to be uh, continued to be, how to put this, going to be added on and continued with what they could possibly bring. Like, for an example, these only give Glimmer. That's all these give right here. But here, you can see that they're supposed to give a lot more resources. But the cool thing about this is only week 1, so they could bring more later season or later weeks in the season or next act because there is 3 acts every single episode, which makes them which makes them episodes, not seasons. Like that is the main thing with the entire seasonal format that changed to make them episodes is having the 3-act format, which gives so much per act, which is pretty cool in and of itself. But there are so many different tonics, like these guys that give armor, these guys that give weapons, and these guys that give armor as well. Uh, but all the tonics themselves are very easy to get and very self-explanatory, but not really explained. How they work is, like for an example, Onslaught Salvation Weapon. It is a random weapon from the entire Onslaught Salvation category. But if you buy 5 of these, you'll be able to get something like that. Because that, I believe. I think that one gives that one and the other old or the other new salvation weapons or onslaught weapons. This one gives the older salvation weapons, I believe. But to do that, all you have to do, or to get another version, all you have to do is buy this one or any other version that gives multiple different things. I got to buy this one 10 times to get both of these, 5 times to get either one of those because it's 5 per to get each different potion, which again is not explained anywhere that I've seen. I might have just skipped through it, but it is pretty self-explanatory once you see possible choices like onslaught weapons, like a random onslaught weapon, and there's multiple onslaught weapons. Grab 5 of them per, and you'll be able to get another onslaught weapon guaranteed from that overall category. Like here, buying 5 of that will give me the last one here. I've already bought 5, 10, 15. Buy 20, and I boom had that. uh that general thing. It's pretty self-explanatory, pretty fun, and to get it, all you have to do is play a very fun mode. So it's overall pretty fun to do. But the downside is, and it's kind of a downside, kind of not, I don't use them. I bought them, I have them, I just don't really use them. If I was going to grind my absolute ass off and was going to do some just going into getting one of these weapons, this armor, something here that I really want to get, like something that I really want to get, I am going to devour these things. Like I am going to be a alcoholic equivalent for one of those tonics, depending on what I'm wanting to get. But because I'm not, it's not really that applicable as of yet. But for you and whoever you or whatever you're wanting to do, it might be applicable, which is the cool thing about what this entire season is bringing to the table. With all that said, I'm going to show off the very fun mode that also changes so many different things and adds so many different things. First, it is multiple maps that are changed. It is Europa, Eventide Ruins area, Widow's Court, the Crucible map. I forget the third one. There's a third map that is also added here that is doing a whole lot of cool things. The maps themselves are altered to be more like tainted, I think is the best way to put it, corrupted. These different words that you can use as a descriptor for overall ick. They got ickified by the scorn and are more scorn adjacent. But uh besides that, there's also upgraded stuff, like there is airstrikes you can call in that are more like, if you played Onslaught before, it is basically the tripwires, but you pick where the tripwire is. You buy the airstrike, you place it down, but you only get 3 airstrikes per purchase. I don't think they refresh. I've not noticed if they refresh, but every purchase, every upgrade, you get 3 more. But they also do a fuck ton more and look so much more beautiful. I'm only ever going to be able to upgrade to one of them to tier 2 in the playlist. The other version allows you to get a lot more upgrades and a lot more just in-depth in what you're going to get. Each item has 3 upgrades. If you didn't know this, each upgrade making it better and better and better, and sometimes they're just kind of funny, but also very fucking good. Like for an example, the Sweeper Bot, which is basically a stationary monkey or monkey bomb. If you know zombies, it's the thing that draws zombies in, but basically one of those that draws attention that eventually turns into shacks, which is funny. And if you don't know, he is a guardian that is the titan when it comes to solar hammers and PvP. He's also somebody that literally bitch smacked a dude's head off. Specifically, the specific dude was Fellwinter, which is funny to think about. And if you did not know who Fellwinter is an exo-ish that should not have been able to just get his head popped off like that. I don't know what's taking so long. Speaking of the devil, all right.
I'm reading multiple enemy contacts. Guardians, light them up.
Okay, that right there is what makes this game so fun in my personal opinion. Because most games don't have stuff like that. What you just saw is the little geometry, that little slope I landed on, giving me distance on my jump, which allows me to do some cool shit, because that technically can be done anywhere there is a slope, and I have abused that fact. Like, there is some cool, just little fine-tuning things in this game that I highly suggest playing with. And just learning to be able to do anything in this game, really. Big turret up there is manned, little turret over there is not. Big turret is fun, just not really. Depending on the placement, it's a lot better. Most placements aren't good. That one is one of the best ones. And these are the airstrikes that are very good at saying no you in a very explosive manner that I am going to show off. Cease your existence. And something kind of cool, the combination of this grenade launcher with Titan Strafe Lift allows you to just dance around enemies more than they typically see you doing, if you know what you're doing. And I mean they as in the PvE enemies, because they actually do have to take a little bit to target onto you if you did not know this. Higher end, they'll just start fucking shooting and absolutely hit you every single chance they get. But lower end, they do have to actually aim a good bit, and they aren't necessarily the greatest. Ah, Cabal Balls! The Cabal Balls are one of the most terrifying things that are in this game. Because Cabal Balls can still just appear out of fucking nowhere and delete you. Like what just happened. But they do have a change nowadays, and it is a pretty old change nowadays, but a change that allows you to see where they're going to drop and kind of win because there is a pulse to it.
Subjugator coming
But
down.
it is not that obvious sometimes. Something that is pretty fun about this game, there is no friendly fire, but if you did not notice right there, friendlies can use their ass accidentally to block your entire everything. Like I have in the past so many different times accidentally killed my ally with my big titan ass because he tossed a very high powered grenade, shot a rocket, something into my ass. It didn't kill me, but killed my ally. And if you are one of those that do actually want to kill your friends in some way, shape, or form, there technically has always been a way to do friendly fire, because you have to be able to spawn a Sparrow, or a Skimmer technically. To spawn, or when you spawn either of them, all you have to do is slam your ally into a wall. At certain speeds and certain Sparrows, and something kind of cool about this game if you didn't know, Skimmers and Sparrows' body size and shape do actually matter about how they fly through the air and how they collide with enemies. All of the geometry you see actually matters, which is fucking gorgeous, but not really. Ah, bull! Right there, it wasn't that obvious. No. Skimmers, or what was I saying? Sparrows are a better way to do it. Skimmers are very hard to hit things because of how they work. They're very plate-like. Sparrows, though, are very broad on the front, depending on the sparrow. Most sparrows, though, are very good at slamming your ally into a wall, like right here would be very good, where it's flat, and just slamming into them.
I've got eyes on Elixni captives. Guardians, time to be heroes.
And this is the new area, technically, for Onslaught, where this general thing works, where it's the same general thing of every 6-ish waves, there is something new, every 10 there's a boss fight, same general thing. But this, it is destroy these. It is always the same for this, but except for the boss fight. The 6th is always the same. The boss fight can be different, and this is where the Revenant Barons are. That have a unique mechanic of when they die, they travel like this, you follow the travel, and then destroy the totem. If you don't destroy the totem, they'll respawn with a pretty audible sound.
Good work, Guardians. Let's bring those Elixni home.
This one is the highest tier I've seen this because I've only ever gotten things to tier 2, but this one is fucking gorgeous. It is just a beam of pure energy going into somebody's dome. And hopefully y'all see it. And hopefully you can notice how I really don't really need the alchemy thing, but it is a very handy thing to use. Or handy thing to have, technically. I don't typically use Eager Edge, so I'm gonna have to get used at the timing of when it refreshes. But I believe by feeling it out, it's around 3 to 4-ish seconds for when it's fully refreshed. Ah, bolt! These balls give literally no warning, and that is what I'm talking about—a supercharged beam of death. Also, the reason why there is the Shran boy there, if you do not know what those boys are, they are dread enemies. There's a new enemy type technically that came out with the final shape. That Not the final shape. Yeah, it is the final shape. That brought the dread enemy type that is also different things that can actually use multiple darkness elements. Like there is a stasis and Strand boy of small and big flavors.
You can do this. They're no match for you.
Not half bad, Guardians. If I didn't know any better, I'd think you would like this kind of carnage.
And one of the best things about every single season is the artifact perks. And the volatile tinctures works with the perks itself, and each perk can do some crazy things. I'm just gonna scroll through what I have because they are pretty cool. And something kind of cool about the anti-champion stuff, they work overall. Like they work in PvP and PvE. This is not something I can really show off that well, but there is a new dungeon called Vesper's Host. Vesper's Host is a very interesting dungeon that if you complete it in the first 48 hours, which is still going now, which is why there's that, you can get the dungeon exotic for free. Or without grinding for it, technically. But the dungeon, I am not done, so I can't really show you the exotic. I have gone to the second or first encounter, depending on how you do it. I like saying the spawn area is the first encounter because that is the first area that shows you the overall mechanic, where people typically just don't even count that as an encounter. The second encounter, in my personal opinion, is where I got to, and that was actually pretty cool. Me and my team figured out how to do it pretty fast, but the funniest thing about it is we did not know how the scanner worked and got past the first encounter. Like, we did not know that the scanner did anything. I thought, so did my allies, thought that the scanner literally was a red herring. But in the second area, after a good couple attempts, I realized that if you have the scanner, you see yellow dots where the buttons are. And we've seen the buttons, we know where the buttons were, so we didn't think it really mattered. And also that there's yellow dots when you pick it up, so like I thought it was just showing off where they are. But if you run over those yellow dots with the scanner, it either says it's actually there, it's that button you can shoot by it staying there and being white, or not it by it just going away. And I did not know that. Once we realized that, people had to go to bed, but that alone makes that dungeon so fucking easy. It's just a matter of even in contests like that one is, it's very easy from what I've noticed. Like even when it comes to damage phases, I don't see this getting really difficult. It's just a matter of understanding your team synergy and what exactly you have to do overall. And with that second encounter, if you've not seen it, there's 3 doorways you have to go through and do things. In my personal opinion, it is always better to do the hardest than the easiest. Find which room will be the easiest to hardest or hardest to easiest in your group. Like some groups can do like the massive ad clears, some groups can do the easy parkour or relatively easy parkour. Like some things here and there, like there are some different differences between each one that really make or break your time limit. Because in contest specifically, I don't know about in base contest, there is a time limit in the second encounter, which is a massive time crunch because you have to do all 3 rooms in that one time frame, which look at first glance, because it's 5 minutes, seems like a good bit. It's really not in contest. But something kind of cool, I have not wiped to the timer. But uh, that is because we always die beforehand. I don't think I have anything more I really want to show you that isn't heavy spoilers. So, with all that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you on the next one.